Hello there, welcome back. This is Sheepishly here once again, and today I've got a very interesting crafting video to share with you guys, and that is crafting flasks. We have a spoiler, I spent one divine testing out this strategy, and if you come over to Faustus here, you can see that I've been selling a lot of these flasks overnight. 2 divine, 1 half divine sale, and some of the cheaper ones as well. Absolutely flying off the shelf like hotcakes. Now the second part of the equation is the introduction of these Foulborn Orb of Augmentation. So how these Foulborn augmentations work is that they actually make the higher level modifiers much more likely, and given the flask is only a magic item, what we're doing here is that we're targeting one good mod, for example this 14% increased movement speed here on the Quicksilver Flask, and we're just trying to use the Foulborn augmentation to augment our good prefix, which in this case I got 43% increased charge recovery, and this is actually the flask I'm using at the moment. So these Foulborn Orbs of Augmentation is quite cheap at the moment, going for roughly 0.3 chaos each. So this is overall a fairly cheap strategy if you can stomach sitting in your hideout crafting flasks, which is not for everyone, I would say. Now for this challenge, I invested 1 divine, and that includes buying all the flask bases, buying all the alterations, as well as these Foulborn Orbs of Augmentation, and we made back roughly 4.5 divines. So this is definitely a very profitable strategy as well, at least for now. Now, I'm gonna let the clips roll in a second. I did edit out all the boring stuff just to keep it a bit shorter in terms of the video length, but feel free to ask me if there's anything that's unclear, or if you have any questions after watching this video. Well, that's it. This is Sheepishly here once again. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Okay, let's start. So we're gonna take a divine and convert that to chaos. I think at today's rate, can probably get 99 chaos if we wait for a second. Now the flask we're gonna try to craft is the good old Quicksilver flask. Quicksilver flask being probably the most versatile of all the flasks. So let's have a look here. You can see coming on trade site, you can search for these level 85 Quicksilver flasks for something like 2 chaos, 3 chaos, or even 1 chaos sometimes. So make sure to snatch them up when you see them available. The reason we're aiming for level 85 is also because of the roll ranges on Quicksilver flasks. You come over here to Craft of Exile under Utility Flasks. You can see that level 85 is when you can roll increased movement speed during effect, which is kind of what we're aiming for in terms of crafting. For this one, you can see that if you were to craft use the alteration and augment, it only takes about 63 attempts, so that's what we're going to do today. Now, for the purpose of this testing, I'm just only going to spend this 1 divine that I've purchased, so we have to buy some alterations. Let's see how much they're going for. 1 to 7.4, that's not too bad. We're probably going to need a lot of these, so 74, 10. Let's grab 2 of these. The other side of this is augments. Now, we're going to be using a special augment, the Foulborn augmentation. I think 1 to 4 should snatch us some pretty good ones. So 40. Yep. Whilst we wait for that order to fill, let me just explain what these Foulborn augmentations do. Now, these actually removes the likelihood of lower tier modifiers. If we take this flask, for example, well, there you go. I just clicked it once and it rolled into increased movement speed. So when you have the perfect suffix, when you augment, realistically any of the prefixes are good except for probably the increased charge recovery and reduce effect. But the issue is that say if you hit max charges and you hit like say tier 2, the flask is pretty much dead and you're not going to be able to get more than say 10-20C out of it, right? Now with the Foulborn Orb of Augment, what you're really doing is that you're reducing the amount of low tier modifiers you can get. So hopefully we can demonstrate by clicking on this button right now. There you go, T1 perfect increased duration. Wow, I think that's incredibly lucky. I think that's a perfectly rolled one. So how much did I go for? 2 divines. There you go. That was easy. I should just end the video here because I don't think we're gonna be able to top that one anytime soon. Now I think 2 divines might be a bit steep. Let's see how it goes. If we can't sell, we'll just, yeah, we'll reduce the price, right? Okay, let's keep going. Whoa, that's another really good outcome here. 3 charges when you hit by an enemy. Maybe I have Foulborn Orb of Alterations without knowing as well. So for this one, you're looking for good suffixes. Now, it is much harder to get good suffixes if you have a look here at all the suffixes available. With that being said though, with Foulborn, we are actually more likely to hit good things such as increased armor, crit chances are probably okay, increased evasion is also another good one, movement speed obviously being really, really nice. What else is really good is these things such as reduced curse effect, and I believe there is a stun immunity one as well if I can find it. Avoid being stunned. Now these are also really good ones as well, but they're only valuable if you can roll T1s on them. So when we use this Foulborn augment, that's what we're hoping for. 65% reduced effect of curses. That is actually a really, really nice one. Now let's price check these. Again, being perfectly rolled, I would expect this to be quite expensive. Not available. Let's take a look on trade site. Any. Okay, that's fine. We're probably looking for 60, which is T1. So you can see about 115, 140C, 64s of 149s, and you probably can... Okay, so we're not going to get too greedy, so let's probably just price this as 140 chaos, undercut the competition a little bit. Well, that's 2 flasks done. Okay, on to flask number 3. Let's have a look at this one. We can just alteration spam it a little bit. That's actually really nice already. I wonder if we're going to sell that straight up. Let's have a look here. 24% reduced charges used, and 20 out of 20 elemental resistances. That's quite good. It's about 15 chaos, which is nice, but we're probably not gonna... well, my blueprint's so nice. We're probably not gonna keep this. Let's keep going with that. Well, there you go. Another 14% movement speed. Wow, that's actually crazy. Try number 3. Okay, so we actually didn't hit that good. We hit chance to gain flask charges when you deal crit, but that is still okay. Let's see how much these go for. I think 55 chaos looks like a pretty good outcome for me, especially since we're pretty low on the flask charges row. Okay, so let's probably do that for on the price a little bit, 50 chaos. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let me grab more gold here. I think we are a bit short on gold. And let's look for more flasks. Well, the price gone up slightly, about 4C each for each of them, but that's still okay. Let's see how we go with the crafting. Ah, there we go. So I do want to pause here. So one of the key ones is that if you roll reduce duration and increase effect on one of your flasks, please stop there. Because what this is a perfect starting base for a Mage Blood Flask. Now, for a Mage Blood Flask, they don't actually care about the tier of your prefix. All they care about is the fact that you have 25% increased effect. But unfortunately, it's quite strict on the suffix. You do want to have a perfectly rolled suffix if you want to get a lot of money out of them. And this is where the augment comes in. Foulborn, augment, please do your job. Ah, T2 increased armor. That is very close, but I don't think that does the trick there. Yeah, so that's a no-go. Let's get over that. Okay, so increased duration and increased armor. Okay, so this looks okay. I think we would stop here just because it's a perfectly rolled one on the duration side, and we can probably sell this for something like 25-30 chaos. Yep, I can see one listed for 30 chaos, so maybe let's just put that in the shop there. We're gonna underprice it a little bit and then go maybe 25. Okay. As you can see, when you're crafting flasks, you're not really looking for the very perfect one. Obviously, a perfect one is nice, but a lot of times you're not gonna get that. So it's really about being able to turn a profit and then kind of moving on to the next one. Since the base is quite cheap anyways, it doesn't take much to actually make a profit. So we have one here that's kind of interesting. We rolled T2 on the chance to freeze, shocking, ignite, and 3 charges when you get hit by an enemy. Now, I can see a couple of these going for about 60 chaos. I'm not sure if that's legitimate. I do see someone who's sent out something for about 18 chaos about half an hour ago, and that hasn't been bought up yet, and that's T1, T1. So we might roll over this one. But that's okay. let's keep going. Oh, here we have a T1 increased duration. That deserves a little Foulborn augment here. Reduce effect shock T3, that's not gonna cut it. Okay, let's keep going. T3, 25% increased duration. T2, ooh, that was good. T5. So you can see we're definitely slowing down a little bit in terms of our rolling. Oh, there you go. 18% elemental res, what do we get? Ah, this one might be worth something. So it's not perfectly rolled, but it's pretty hard to get a perfectly rolled one for Mage Blood. Oh, that's actually not worth too much. Yeah, it's actually not worth too much, so we might just roll past it. Increase evasion. This is pretty good. Let's have a look here. 58. It's quite close to perfect. Yeah, that's not gonna do the trick either. I think for Mage Blood users, they really just want the perfectly rolled flasks. Oh, even 60% doesn't attract that much. I think it's only 35 chaos. Okay, never mind. Maybe let's try with reduce effect of curses. Reduce charges used. I don't think that's gonna cut it. Just keep rolling on the flasks. Ooh, that's a T1 increased armor, perfectly rolled. But I think the prefix is a bit too low for this to be worth anything. Oh, 20 chaos. That's okay, I suppose. I don't think this is gonna sell for 20 chaos, but maybe let's come back to that one and move on to the next flask. Shock. I don't think that's very valuable. That's almost good. Yeah, rolling for flasks, sometimes it's not the most fun thing to do. 55% increase crit. Maybe let's have a go at this one. Oh, that's a nice combo. Lowest roll on both of them, but maybe it is worth something. Let's have a look. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I think we definitely see something similar for about 35 chaos, so we can probably send this for 30C and see if someone will snatch them up. Let's come back to this one. Let's roll over it. I'm not feeling that this one will sell. Well, there you go. Gain 3 charges when you get hit by an enemy. Let's see what we get here. Ooh, that's not good. You really don't want the immune to ignite part, so let's just try to roll over it. Let's keep going for a little bit and see what we get. Inspiration, elements, inspiration. Armor, so this one, not great. That's fine. Nah, that's not work. Take 2 charges. Reduce curse effect. That's tier 4. That's not gonna do the job. Let's just keep on rolling these. Okay, here another one. Gain 3 charges when you're hit by an enemy. Let's try to augment this. Shock. That's no good. Let's just roll over that. But yeah, so this is kind of the process. Let's keep going for a bit longer. Crit strikes, that's not gonna work. %12 movement speed, that's a tier 1, okay. Now, for the last time, we're gonna use the Foulborn Orb of Augmentation. It's gonna give us something really nice. Let's do a slow circle, and bam. Tier 1 reduced charges, that's actually really, really nice. That's actually really, really nice. So I think that's something like 30 chaos. Not bad. Let's do 25C. Well, there you go. We're done, and we can convert these unused alteration shards back to chaoses. I'm not gonna do it, but I just want to show you. We still have about 98 of them left, which is roughly about 10 chaos. So.
The next day.
Okay, now it's the next day. Let's check on how our shop did. You can see that we have picked up quite a bit of earnings from the sale of flasks, and you can see importantly the 2 divine flasks and the 1.5 divine flasks all sold relatively quickly, followed by some of the smaller sales over time. And coming over here into the actual flask tab, you can see there's still some of them left. I'm just gonna start repricing them for a bit cheaper in the hopes that they sell. If it gets too cheap though, I might just recraft them all together. But yeah, depends on how we go.